Hello, and welcome to episode 230 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
Jeff, how the hell are you?
Pretty good. How about you?
Oh, doing just fine, just fine. It feels good to be here with you today. That's what I'll say about the subject. Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for listening to the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. Jeff!
Darby.
We got a lot to talk about today.
We do.
This is going to be an interesting one. A surprising one, I will say.
Yep.
Some twists and turns in this one, if you know us at all.
True.
There'll be some twists and turns, and I'm excited. I'm interested. Because you would think, dear listener, that when we're about to get into game talk with one video game on it, it must be more God of War, right? Has to be, right, Jeff? You've definitely played a whole lot more God of War since the last podcast, right, Jeff?
Yep. A lot of God of War.
Have you played any God of War since the last podcast?
I don't believe so, no.
I think I've only played like 5 hours of like total. So me neither. Which means we have both I must say, have been playing what, Jeff?
Pokémon Scarlet and Violet.
So what sort of bizarro dimension have we gone into, Jeff?
I don't know. I mean, you can look at the stuff up front and probably tell at least one of us is a Pokemon fan. Yeah, like you said, if you know us and listening to us, you know, like, well, makes sense. I would be playing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But you, on the other hand,
well, I want to steal your moment. I want you to start, Jeff. Pokemon has gone into the open world. I mean, I think this is like the biggest step a Pokemon has taken, like at least like in what it's trying to do, and I think what it succeeds to do in a long time. How's that going down for you?
It is great. Besides, like the technical aspects of it.
But anytime you talk about this game, you're gonna have two distinct chunks.
Yes,
You're gonna be talking about, okay, it runs like absolute dog shit, but I love it. But
yeah. Well, today Nintendo had an announcement, and they apologized about it, and they released a patch. But they did not go into details of what the patch included.
Apparently, we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it's a surprise to say I love this game. Love exploring, seeing the Pokemons. I think the open world is really good for Pokemon, even if you can look at it as like it's not perfect, but the general idea of being able to do what you want and technically being able to do any of the objectives in any order is great, even though there is kind of a set order, unless you want to steamroll some later on.
It's a little, there's a little less practical freedom than it necessarily seems like, at least with the objectives that you go through or whatever. But you still could. Yeah, you still could.
At least it gives you that sense of discovery, even if it's, at times it will be, oh, I got steamrolled by this guy.
But that's fun too.
Yeah, or going later and to a place you should have gone early and be like, oh, that was a cakewalk.
Yeah. I mean, I went out of order on one of my things, but Jeff, this game's sick.
Yeah,
this game is very addictive and very fun. It's like it's crazy. I have watched you play a good amount of Pokemon in my life. Even watched you play a good bit of this game before I caved and bought it or whatever. And I've always it's not that I completely didn't understand why people like Pokemon. I was like, yeah, if I got into it as a kid, I would be into it too. I was like, I completely get that. The Pokemon designs have always been so good, and that's how you see like the imitators, and it's just like it's not as iconic, It's like they are very, very good at designing that. But in so many ways, it just kind of seemed like a like sleepy, kind of easy, kind of just sleepwalk through type game that I was like, it just doesn't really look that appealing to me. I just feel like I would probably spend the full price for it because, it's Pokemon, it's Nintendo, and I would just feel like I was underwhelmed by it. So that's part of why I never got into Sword and Shield and all the other stuff. I was like content with Nuzlocke, and that was fine and everything. But like, definitely it was partially the zeitgeist of you guys talking about it and partially just like seeing the actual exploring the open world. And I'm like, okay, it was like a slow build of like, all right, this definitely looks more interesting to explore. I'm like, okay, this map is actually pretty dang big. And it's like, even in these environments, it's like, okay, there's a lot of like verticality. There's a lot of like hidden corners, all this stuff or whatever. It's like, all right, fine, forget, I'll get it. And like, Actually, playing it, yes, exploring that world and everything, it gives me, it's obviously nowhere near the same game and nowhere near as well made, like, technically wise, but it does remind me of the Breath of the Wild in some of the ways of, like, I will, like, climb up some mountain or whatever, and every stage there's, like, different, like, I'll get up there and there's, like, oh, what the hell is that? Especially me, is, like, not knowing most of these Pokemon. It's kind of been very fun going into new areas, and then getting new things, like, I can surf now, so, like, I literally just, like, jumped off a cliff thing into the water, and it's like, oh, there's a whole new Pokemon. I went, like, deep out at sea, and I'm like, oh shit, there's just so many GD Pokemon in this game that I feel like everywhere I go there's new there's new creatures, there's new things to see for me, and I just didn't know I would get so much into just finding and collecting a new Pokemon. I'm raising so many different Pokemon. I don't really have a one set team, so it's been fun. It's been fun just juggling all these around, kind of growing stupidly attached to them because I named them all and I named them dumb things. And it's just like, it's fun. Yeah. The collection, it's like a collectathon mixed with an open world exploration mixed with a turn-based RPG. It's a addicting loop. Just going into area to area.
Yep. Trying to tell.
You're right. No, yeah. You're right. You're right.
And I mentioned these before. I'd be curious, like, how you would feel about Legends Arceus playing that. Because you, what it seems you're enjoying the most about this overall is exploring the area and finding new Pokemon and catching them, and that is the main, even more the main point of Arceus, and gives you more tools and stuff to make that more fun.
Yeah, I probably should try that. That's probably the only other Pokemon game I'm interested in going back to, probably. Because I do think being able to go into a new area and just see all the Pokemon, interact with the ones I want, leave the ones I don't, and stuff like that, I do think is a way better loop. Than the random encounters. I mean, would you agree? I mean, I think that's like,
Well, it's kind of fun.
They never turned back.
The only reason I was ever kind of bummed about random encounters because it makes Nuzlocke more difficult. Yes. But with Terror Raids, though, which is what we changed our Nuzlocke into, we still get that.
Yeah, so we're doing a Nuzlocke where we're just basically only getting our Pokemon from the
Terror Raids, which is also fun because they get a random Terror type, which I guess we can talk about that.
Yeah,
how we feel about terrestrialization and all that.
Yeah, you lead because you know all the different Pokemon gimmicks from everyone. Like, how does this one stack up?
I like it a lot, and it could, as far as like an actual how it affects the actual game, it might be my favorite. Like, of course, I'm going to have some fondness, like a Mega Evolutions, because it's always fun to see Pokemon that, I love get new forms and all that. But as far as like what it actually means gameplay-wise, I think it's the most exciting because while Dynamaxing affected Z moves affected every Pokemon to a point, even though for both of them, some Pokemon got exclusive stuff like Gigantamax forms or special Z moves. This is something that affects every Pokemon, at least that's right now, every Pokemon the same, where it's just any Pokemon can get any of the different types as a Terra type.
Yeah.
And that is fun. And it's fun watching a Terralock, and even like what little we've done with it and what we'll have in the future is where you find a Pokemon, you're like, oh, this type. And you think about it, it's like, oh, that's actually pretty good. Or it's like, oh, that kind of sucks. And you never know, like later, that might actually come in handy during a specific.
Right. And when there's literally just like endless combinations of Pokemon of different types, like I can't imagine how many, like every Pokemon in every type, I can't imagine how many different variations there are or whatever. Yeah. You can make it like for the entire game, for your entire playtime in the game, you can always go to one of those and be like, oh, that's that's interesting. Like that like never really wears off completely, just kind of the nature of it. And just like from what I've heard, the comparison from that to like Dynamaxing and some of the other things, it's like a lot of times it seems like those other things were just fancy ways of just your attacks hit harder. Whereas this is like, you can actually strategize this out. You can like, go into the Terra thing, even just defensively or whatever, but you can also fuck it up. You could also do it and it not benefit you, or it be bad for you if you like go into a weakness or something right there. Like you
never know. And I think it's kind of fun from a the competitive standpoint where, you can kind of guess with the other ones like what's going to do because there were metas to it or whatever, and they'll probably happen here to a point. There'll probably be certain metas that people go after. But at least for now, it's like, yeah, you can just have a Terra type on a Pokemon. You said just for a defensive standpoint, it's like, oh, this Pokemon has a lot of weaknesses. Let's get rid of those.
Yeah. Which is, very. I think it's a cool mechanic for sure.
And what's fun about it for people who don't know, every Pokemon has like stab with the same type attack boost for one of their types. When they terrestrialize defensively, they're only the new type. So depending on the Pokemon, it just removes like all their weaknesses, or even if they are dual type, they lose the weaknesses of one of their types,
Right.
which could be good. But they get the stab of all their original types and the new type as well. So you could have 3 different stab types if it's your Terra type is something that's different from your original types.
What is the stab? What is that?
The same type attack boost. So like if a Pokemon uses an electric move, it's extra powerful because it's
so it has
type.
all of the just offensive pluses. So like
yes, it does not
weaknesses of all 3. Like
yes, it does not remove the benefits offensively of your original types.
Okay.
It just
remember you got to explain things like you can't just say stab moves.
I did say same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I said
Gotcha.
So yeah, you get all the benefits offensively, and defensively is more of a mind game because you can make it benefit you, but yeah, depending on the Pokemon and what situation it turns into, it could hurt you. You just never know.
True. Yeah. I actually didn't even know you kept all the offense. I always just was like terrorizing whatever to do like the thing.
Yeah.
Like I was doing it for like a certain move or whatever for offensively. I didn't realize. And I mean, to be honest, a lot of my gyms and big battles and stuff have been pretty one-sided.
Thing is, like, obviously I'm doing my own kind of rules with it. Like for gym leaders, I am purposely making it so I match them Pokemon wise, not using healing items, not switching out Pokemon in between killing theirs, yada yada yada. And it's been pretty challenging overall. I mean, in comparison to past games, I mean, I haven't died yet necessarily, but it's kind of like, okay, I've lost multiple Pokemon, and there's definitely an avenue here where I could lose for sure, but I was able to get past it.
That's fine.
And it especially gets me excited for when we, continue in the Nuzlocke, because those Pokemon are completely random. They're probably not going to be as, the team's probably not going to be as, good for these particular challenges as they are.
Probably.
And especially watching other Nuzlockes as well, it's like, yeah, this could get rough, especially since the ones I've seen so far only do the gym side, just only do the gym leader path. While at least right now, planning on us doing all of them, because some of those be very hard and be some drama.
We gotta fight them cars.
Those cars we're gonna lose some people to those cars. Those things hit like a truck and can take a lot of hits unless you have a very strong Pokemon of its weak, what is weak against.
Yeah. So what do you think about the whole tri-path thing they did here? Whatever.
I like it a lot. I think it's also fun that there are technically 18 badges you get through this. They kind of have their reasons why you get badges that are kind of silly, but they're fun.
Yeah, outside the gym ones, it is a little weird because it's just like a guy making sandwiches, and he's like, "Here's a badge for giving me."
I made them myself.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Then there are technically 18 bosses in the main story for getting to the in-game stuff, and they're all representative of each of the 18 types.
Yeah, which I think that's very cool. Because most games, I imagine,
it's just the 8 gym leaders, so and maybe depending, it's mainly for, I think, Gen 3, where the bad guys will focus on a type. So yes,
but nothing like this, where it's
no,
you basically in some way get almost like a gym for every type. It's like the equivalent of a gym. You get a big battle for every type.
And then you get to Elite Four, and as of last night, I have beaten the Elite Four and the champion, so I am a champion now. But I have not fought Nimona again. I don't think that's a spoiler because that's obviously what was gonna happen once
Yeah, when Nimona ascends to godhood,
Yeah.
you have to strike her down.
So I'm actually at the moment, I'm at the very last fights for all these storylines.
Wow.
So,
You're just gonna punch them all in?
Yep, do them all at once, and then go into the main end game, which I don't know what happens, but people have been hyping this shit up.
Hope they haven't hyped it up too much.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm gonna love it, and just the kind of stuff where it's like, I'm sure I'm gonna love it, and its craziness.
I mean, the world, like, obviously, I haven't paid super duper close attention. It's obviously like nothing crazy or whatever, but like the dialogue and the story and stuff has not been like in previous Pokemon games. It's just like, oh my god, it's just you can't hit A fast enough. This has at least been charming. It's mostly, I'll be honest, Nimona.
Well, the way I look at the characters are obviously the overarching story is nothing too crazy. I mean, if you look at each thing, it's like not a lot of dialogue for each thing. Yeah, compared to other Pokemon games, it's a lot more of actually playing as far as like going in the open world and stuff.
It feels like it to me, at least.
Yeah. Well, and I think something that is nice, and it might be partly because they're not beating you over the head with the story in these characters, is I think the characters themselves, or at least the dialogue we do give them, are kind of better written, and they're more. They just seem to be more fun. These characters seem to be more fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
overall compared to some of the past gens.
Like the thing that you just watched me, like the with the sandwich guy or whatever, won't spoil what happens, but I did the second one of him. Even like that simple story arc or whatever is already better than anything I saw in Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
It's like that's like, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, there's some emotion here.
Well, yeah, well, I guess me excited about trying that post game is because everyone rightfully shits on the Sword and Shield like in-game stuff, like with the chairman, which you can tell they just ran out of budget, and this seems to be the opposite, where they just put all their budget into the finale. If it's what it sounds like,
you love to see it.
Love to see it. So I am.
Hey, am I still talking? I think I am. Okay.
So yeah, excited to finish up this game and I guess explore more, do more of a Nuzlocke. We'll have to continue that. I'm hoping you playing doesn't make you not want to do the Nuzlocke.
No, I still do. I think it'll be fun. I might be more in the strategy of it.
And I'm just glad after doing the Brilliant Diamond one, or at least what we've done for it, just having one where I can get candies and stuff again is nice. And also, and I'll tell you this later, Darby, for when you get high enough, I found a very good grinding spot.
Oh.
There's people who may not know this can try to look it up or whatever, or I'll just say it here. It's closer to the end of the game, unfortunately, once you get like level 40 and all that. At the top, there's the fairy team star person. Mm-hmm. You don't have to beat them to do this, but you can do a picnic and make a ham sandwich, which ups the chance of random, like, normal type spawning. And around there, a bunch of Chanseys will spawn. I mean, like, a lot of them. And Chansey just gives so much more experience than everyone else. So you can kill those fuckers pretty easily. And you just rack up the experience. I was able to get my dozen plus like team we're switching around.
I didn't know
fast.
So the experience you get is not based off the level, it's based off the Pokemon or both?
A bit of both.
I didn't know the Pokemon had anything to do with it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are specific Pokemon in most gens that are like, they're Chanseys and Chansey equivalents that are like, they just give a lot more experience.
So you just mass murder these Chanseys.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I actually win the battle because they give so much more than just the let's go thing, which I like. I think that's also been a good way to grind. Because they're, depending on the Pokemon and depending where you are, the
let's go thing is the auto battling.
Yeah, the auto battle, they'll follow you. Yeah, you can send them off to attack. It might work out, especially if they're a bunch of evolved Pokemon and you do it that way. But when Chanseys are involved, you get significantly less experience compared to when you actually just battle them head on. So
Gotcha.
that's the case. It's worth doing that.
Gotcha. Yeah, so far I haven't really used the auto battling that much because I've just been exploring so much that usually for whatever the next objective, I'm already at the level, or even recently I've been like a little bit over the level of it for a lot of it. So like I haven't had to sit down and be like, I need to get levels. Usually I've been like, I'm getting too many levels right now. I'm sure.
What I really like, it kind of slows down a bit where there are more like gaps in between the levels, but at least early on. Like once you get to the where you're good for the first gym, like it's consistent. You only need to be 2 or 3 level, even 1 level higher than the previous one for the first little bit of the game. I think that's a good way to kind of get you into the game and all that
for sure
before it opens up.
And just the world. I mean, I don't know. This is the right way for Pokemon to be, with the world being as open as it is. And honestly, this one feels. The other ones feel way more linear sandbox, like not sand, but the opposite sand, but linear. We are like, you must go down this path. You are going to fight all these people, whether you want it, whether you need to fight them or not. You're gonna fight these people.
Great addition where you don't have to fight random trainers.
Yeah.
Which I liked having the option to do it because sometimes that is also a good way to get experience. But being able to just go and boom. Like we've talked about when we do our Nuzlocke. I know that's the most boring thing to do. That's fair. Though there are some these trainers in here that could fuck you up unless you're way.
Oh yeah, I've had a few dudes come very close.
I think that's also shows the difference between this game and the previous games. The AI is not really any different. Apparently, they've been using the same AI since X and Y.
Feels like it.
Yeah, but the Pokemon that they're giving them and the moves they're giving them seems to just be better in here in a lot of instances than the equivalents in the past games. So at the very least, it's harder.
Right. Yeah. That's. I mean, yeah. I think it's easier
for a random person to fuck you up in this game, and that'll be scary. As we continue the Nuzlocke. But
yeah, no, they have a good balance of like, it's less of the. I mean, the thing that killed me in like Sword and Shield Nuzlocke and all the other Nuzlockes too is like, so we'll beat a gym and it's like we are ready to. If we could just walk to the next gym, we would. We really we're good. We're grinded up. We don't need this at all or whatever. But you would have to like sacrifice several hours to trainers that like half the time it would be like. We're halfway through the game and you're pulling out like the base dog that was in the Route 1 and like you have zero chance of winning this battle. And it's like, okay. The fact that like, and I think there's something to be said for I really haven't gone just straight to gym or whatever, but just having the freedom to go do whatever the fuck I want like makes it feel so much better. Like in the other, even Nuzlocke when I wasn't playing, it just felt like, all right, now we got to eat our vegetables to get through to finally get to the next gym or whatever. It's like me having the freedom to do whatever I want makes that whole, even though I effectively did the same thing. I went around and battled things and got levels. But because I did it in the way that I wanted, in the areas I wanted, at the time I wanted, makes it just feel a world better, for me.
What's going to be interesting when we get to the in-game list is that I have to rank and compare this and Arceus like right away. Because I can say definitively these are my 2 favorite Pokemon games in a long while.
Strong, very strong.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked/loved them, the other games to varying degrees, but they had a lot more issues and all that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously these also have their shares.
Yeah, which
I think we're about to get.
We do.
But
probably sure good.
As far as how the game actually plays and how fun it is, and them actually trying to do stuff, like these games are just so much a step above anything they've done in the last at least decade. Decade plus, and it's crazy that we got both of them this year, which again
I mean, I've really gotten addicted to this to the point where it's like all I want to do is just like want to get done with work so I can go play more Pokemon. I want to get done with this podcast. You
would not want to go back to other ones like maybe again besides Arceus, but at least the good thing is now this is actually the direction they need to keep on going.
Oh yeah, I feel pretty confident about that now.
We can have the Pokemon hype together.
Yes, no, absolutely, yeah, no. Now I'm definitely. But I was about to say, like, yes, I've been hooked on this or whatever, but it's not. I still don't really feel any differently about my attitude towards some of the previous ones, like you said or whatever.
I think that's fair. That's why I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but
You can experience the old games by us doing a Nuzlocke emulator thing.
Yes.
We can speed through them.
Well, and that's partially the good thing about there's a lot of old Pokemon in here too, is now I have a touchstone for even, a lot of older Pokemon or whatever. So it's, like my team is a lot of older Pokemon, but it's a lot of ones I don't know, or even the ones I did know, but obviously I've never played the game.
Yeah,
so
you never
like,
played
all,
them. So like you using a Pikachu is new to you.
Yeah. It's all new,
Yeah.
baby. I think we have talked 25 minutes because this game's really fun.
Yes. And we will continue to talk about these games in coming weeks. But yeah, we need to get into the less fun part of this game.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, we don't have to harp on it too much because you've probably, if any friends or anyone's listening to this, you've played the game or you've heard enough about it other places. It doesn't run well. I mean, it dips below 30 frames pretty frequently. I mean, honestly, I haven't had many glitches, as in, like, the game actually is, like, impeding my progress or something because it's, like, messing up. I did have to restart once, but I think that, like, that's the only time I've had something, like, interrupt. But that's not everything. The game, like, Pokemon won't pop onto your screen, especially if you're going full speed on your mount, until they're, like, right in front of you. Literally, I'll come in contact with something that wasn't there, and then it'll just suddenly be there. It's like the loading distance is atrocious for a modern game. If anyone is, like, 20 yards from you, they're like, I mean, it's pretty impressively bad. Like, I've never seen a game as, like, popular and, like, I mean, this is a AAA game. It's not made like it, but this is the most popular franchise in the world. I mean, like, it could be a AAA budget game if it wanted to be. Yeah, exactly. So, like, yeah, I have never seen anything run, like, or just run this poorly, look this bad, just to be this poorly optimized for how big of a game it is. And that is a problem. That is definitely a problem.
Honestly, I've seen people mention this, and it's hard to disagree with the technical state that this is in, and even Arceus, though. I will say Arceus, I think, looks and runs a good bit better. I mean, it's not a technical marvel. Not even by Switch standards, but it at least has an art style that I think looks good-ish overall. And
well, I disagree. I think that game's ugly as sin as well, but in different ways.
And as far as, like, the way it runs, I think, significantly better.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah, not nearly as noticeable things like that.
For sure.
I've seen people say that maybe Arceus should have been this holidays game. And Scarlet Violet gets listed next year. I think that would be the best thing.
I think there's literally no debate on that. This game should have come out next winter. I mean, I'm glad I'm playing. It's great or whatever, but like I mean, you did not need to put two Pokemon games out in 1 year when this one was in the state that it was in. You really could have put this one.
Pokemon games in a 12-month period.
Yeah, you didn't. Unnecessary. It was unnecessary. I mean, if this game had another year of polish, it still would be like, I mean, the base structure of it is like a PS3, like an early PS3 game. That's just like what it is, but the bare minimum, it would probably be better optimized or whatever at that point. But I want to say, like, it's not just that it runs bad and that the frame rate's bad and there's glitches and everything. It is, like I said, from the baseline of the best that this could be, with the engine they were making it with, the amount of people they were making it with, kind of the time and just the budget and everything they were obviously put into it. The best that could be is still not what it should be when it comes to the technical aspect. And I think it's not just visual. I think the world, as fun as it is so fun. I think they do so many things right from a game design standpoint. That world probably could be more interactable. Like, in their idealized best version of the game, I think that open world could shine. Like, I do think the decisions that they've made budget-wise and engine-wise holds them back from a gameplay standpoint.
Yeah. You gotta look at it like, oh, who to blame for this? And everyone's like, Nintendo/Pokemon Company. People don't know / forget. Game Freak owns about as equal amount of share as either of those companies. Involved in much of those companies. And I feel for the actual, like, the quote-unquote small-time developers within Game Freak. Is all the stuff that we're complaining about, I'm sure they're like, yeah, we wish we could have more time to get rid of these issues. but it is the people at the top of the company that are like, no.
Yeah.
We have this well-oiled machine.
No, I don't blame the developers, and like, I mean, it's just, it does print money. I mean, it prints money, so it's like it probably never gonna change. But it's like, but I am a little tired of hearing that as like an excuse. I mean, that is the reason. It doesn't make it okay. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't want more or whatever when it comes to that. And it's not like there's been many other properties and stuff that probably could have phoned it in a whole hell of a lot more than they did, but they decided to ramp up things because they want to make something good. I mean, and there's obviously a clash here because they didn't even have to do what they did here for it to sell this well. They could have just made another Sword and Shield type thing, and it still would have sold really well. But they obviously are trying to push Pokemon forward. We're doing this whole open world thing where like kind of are listening to some of what the fans have said of like ideas they want or whatever. But the budget and technical stuff is obviously not being moved forward at the same pace. So like it seems like there's a clash of developers trying, like we're trying to push it forward, but they're like, okay, you can push it forward with this little scrap of like resources. And it's like, okay, shit.
Don't get Monolith Soft on the phone.
I mean, when you walk around that world, do you not just think of Breath of the Wild? Because it's obviously emulating Breath of the Wild in some ways. The grass, the wind, the blowing. I mean, there's so much of the world looks like incredibly budget Breath of the Wild. Like incredibly budget Breath of the Wild.
The unfortunate timed rain. So I don't know if you know this. In Pokemon, when it rains, water attacks get stronger and fire attacks get weaker. And it like randomly rains. Like even if you're in a random battle, because pretty much they're all outdoors, it can randomly rain. And those effects still apply. So let's say we're doing a Nuzlocke with our little boy Dingy, which is our Fuecoco. If it starts raining, well, our Dingy's weaker, and there's nothing we can do about it. Besides, like, setting controller down and wait for it to go down.
Is there any equivalent fire thing, like a firestorm's happening?
Sunny day.
Okay. Is that at least happening to the same degree around the same
time? The move called Sunny Day.
No, but
the rain can go away.
There's no just natural weather thing that helps Dingy.
I'm not sure.
Water people just have.
I don't know if like a particular like the sun is this bright. So
the UVs are really rough today. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, but I think it's important to look at the fact that we spent 25 minutes talking about all the things we love about this before we even mentioned this. It obviously pulled through. It pulled through these issues. Even for me, who was very cynical and didn't have any Pokemon attachment, even I am like obsessed with it or whatever, and it's not really like impeding my enjoyment of the game, which I think just shows how damn good of a game it is.
Well,
it is sad though to just think of like it could and should be.
Yeah, well, it is funny. Like looking at reviews, and it's probably like the lowest scored like mainline game in a while, if not ever. And I'm not saying that's wrong because the reviewers should call out, and the score should be affected by the technical issues. But it's
a hard game.
No. I know. Even like some of the reviews themselves, and it's just funny seeing that and seeing like fan reactions where people have those same complaints, but then it's followed by. That's the most fun I've had with Pokemon in a long ass time.
I mean, it's hard. Like you could go. We could have also spent 25 minutes talking about nothing but the bad or whatever, and people can like go off. And I've heard some like big like long back Pokemon fans, like Griffin McElroy was one of them. It was like he kind of. I mean, a lot of people have heaped a lot of praise on this, and he was like, I was enjoying it, but he kind of had the. I've played so many hundreds of hours of these games just waiting for them to finally do something like this, and it was like this kind of broke him when it comes to like just the technical like failings of it and just the like not really like striving for better. And he's right. I get it. I mean, it's true. It's 100% true, 100% accurate. It's definitely accurate that like we will criticize other companies and other games for technical failings that are like half as bad as this game. But it's also true that me, you, and a lot of other people are still having fun. So it's like it is a weird thing to square,
Yep.
You can think two things at once.
Yeah.
Two things can be true at the same time. It does not have to be this is all good or all bad, It's like
Yep.
It's a goatee, right? Elden Ring out the door. I mean, it's gonna be Elden Ring's gonna be your like fucking 8th game, and I'm gonna make you leave this house.
Well, but I think at least the crazier thing that's going to happen is these Pokemon games compared to God of War, at least currently. I need to finish it, but
weird.
Yep.
Weird. Well, Jeff, that was 35 minutes of Pokemon talk.
Let's go.
That's what happens when you're not the only one talking about a Pokemon topic.
Let's go.
It probably already would have been 20 minutes. We just pushed it through. All right, Jeff, let's talk about some news. News jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jingle. Let's go into one of my favorite franchises to another one, shall we?
Let's just catering to Jeff. Pandering.
Yep, I pandered myself when picking this news. The Super Mario Bros. Movie got a second trailer.
Yep.
It looked good.
Let's go. That does look good.
Yes. A lot of crazy shit in this trailer.
Lots of references, Easter eggs, Kongs.
Yep, Kongs. No, it's crazy how much they're putting into this movie.
Yeah.
No, it is. I think it was Rebecca Valentine posted that Illumination understood the assignment.
The thing you want to see with any of these, because it's never a given, is, are there fans working on this game? Are there people working on this game that actually know Mario or that actually have played Mario and are big Mario nerds where they're gonna know some deep cut stuff, and it's seeming like very much there's a lot of actual Mario knowledge and love in this.
Yeah, my fear with this movie, I mean, not necessarily from before the first trailer, and even a fear to a point going in before this one, was this was gonna be like an Illumination movie, like pretty much Minions with a Mario's coat of paint just kind of slightly on it.
Yeah,
that's the fear, and it's like, no, yeah, they're doing all this crazy Mario shit. Like you mentioned, the fucking Kongs, like everyone looking in, freeze framing out stuff, like, oh, there's Diddy and Dixie. Wait, that's Funky Kong. Wait, is that Kitty Kong?
Made it.
It's like, what?
No, that's what you want. You wanted this to be a movie that we are freeze framing and zooming in, because there's that many little things like that. It's for it to not be cookie cutter, you said, not to be just a skin slapped on it. I think it's going to be a very simple movie, which is a-okay. I mean, I think there are some aspects of it that felt like some jokes or framings of jokes and stuff that probably could fit in any kid's movie. And then there are other things that are more Mario, but I think it's gonna be a mixed bag of that or whatever, which is fine. I think the ultimate amalgamation of everything is going to be that it was a very good, good loving adaptation thing from Mario. But I do the Luigi was one of the ones where I was like, this felt like, okay, you could kind of swap any character out for this or whatever. There's certainly little character acting or moments or just joke setups or whatever. It's at some point it is going to be there are probably comedy writers for Illumination that are just default kids comedy. Here you go. There's going to be something.
Yeah.
And obviously when you have Mario, something that's so story light, they're going to have to be doing a lot of creating anyway. There's going to be a lot of new ideas and new framing put into this movie because you kind of have to, because there's just not a lot.
I mean, these characters are 30 years old, about 40 years old, and in these trailers they've said more actual words than they have in anything.
Yeah, combined.
Actually,
probably everything combined.
At least some of the characters, if you do the written word stuff like RPGs, okay, Peach and Bowser have said more at this point, but still. But actually hearing them say these words.
Yes.
And speaking of Peach, I think it's not really surprised they made her a badass.
No, they were not going to make her the typical old school Mario damsel in distress.
That's Luigi.
It was not going to, which is great. It was not going to happen in the year of our Lord 2020.
Yeah.
3.
But they're going to go that route. I think it works as having just going around the world in the duo of Peach and Toad kind of being the guide for Mario through this and helping him learn about what all this this world's about.
That's fun. She gives me some vibes of like the Galaxy Peach, you know.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that,
Okay.
in the trailer there might
No,
be
wait, sorry, not Galaxy Peach, the Odyssey Peach. I'm sorry. Yeah. But yes,
there's also mention galaxies, and that's one of those things where, especially with everything else, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to assume this was on purpose to kind of maybe tease where, even in this trailer, like where a sequel could go. Because I think that's the obvious thing. I was on some people like throw out, oh, so the teacher's going to be Wario, right? Like, it's probably going to be Rosalina. Or like a galaxy thing. I mean, it could be a mixture of both. Like, I think
she has.
If fucking Kiddy Kong's in here, there's a good chance we're getting Wario and Waluigi in here at some point.
I hope. Please.
Yeah. I think there's ways to go with this. And what gets me also excited about this NCU, because we already know they're suddenly working on a Donkey Kong spinoff. Just seeing what they're doing with the Kongs already, even it's just like them willing to use all this stuff and make a world and stuff about it already. It's like, okay, that kind of gets me excited. Of course, that, you know, how excited I'll be will be based on how good this movie is and everything, and how Seth Rogen's performance of Donkey Kong is. But it'll give me more hope as far as these guys having like a cool vision about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm optimistic. I'm definitely optimistic at this point. I mean, I've been at least a baseline of optimistic since the first trailer of like, it's at least, I don't think gonna be like terrible. And now I'm like, yeah, I think it's gonna be good. You know, I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah. And Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. Yeah. I just really hope that they don't like towards the release of the movie just start putting out trailers that has like every set piece that's going to be in the movie. You know, it's like you revealed the Mario Kart. That's cool. It was a cool reveal for early. It's like, yeah, I would like maybe save some on that level. You know, if you have some other ones kind of on that level. Like,
I was watching Kind of Funny's reaction. I think it was theirs. They mentioned like the Tanuki suit was in here. It's like, depending, that could have been like, I'm hoping there are more power-ups than just that in the Fire Flower. Because it'd be stuck if they revealed. And like, I love getting Fire Flower Peach. You know,
that Fire Flower dress is top tier.
Yeah,
top tier. Yeah,
so
absolutely top tier.
Yeah, very excited.
But I want like Waluigi tennis match or something with the rose in his mouth.
Yeah, they're just flying through the Mushroom Kingdom. Is Wario and Waluigi playing tennis?
Please, even something that small, I'll be like, yeah. So. I mean, you could also save Wario to be like the antagonist of like the next movie or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of ways you can go with this.
If you don't want to do Bowser every time, or Bowser has a different role. I mean, there has been multiple Mario games where Mario and Bowser have to team up in some way. You know, unlikely allies. So do something like that. Future.
Rosalina's the bad
guy. But then, like we said, like me and you said, Big Boss has to come introduce him to Sonic to start
the Smash Initiative. Please.
Oh my god, that fucking happened. If it happens in general, but if it's Big Boss, I would be like,
I am curious if this is successful. If they'll do like, I know it'll take a lot of stuff to do that. I don't think they would do it, but I mean, they could realistically, besides maybe Pokemon, make like movies of all the main series from Smash 64 and then have some kind of crossover thing.
That'd be pretty sweet.
You know, there are 8 like original characters for Smash. He's focused on those universe. Well, 3 of them are in this movie.
If this gets big, I could see a potential like reality in a few years of like having some Zelda property and then some weird crossover or something. It's like, I mean, Mario was already isekai'd into this world. Like Link gets isekai'd into, or Mario gets going the other way. They swap. Yeah. Jimmy Timmy Power Hour.
I think there's potential for like a Star Fox movie or Metroid, or you can do stuff with these properties
for sure. I want a Metroid like horror show or movie or something, like a straight up rated R. Like Ridley is like terrifying. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I do hope at the very least, even if it's not like for a leading up to a Smash Bros. Movie, they might be more open to doing this with other people to do.
I don't think this is gonna be the end. So
yeah,
and the only franchise they do. So
alrighty. Well, speaking of movies and crazy bullshit,
you know, Jeff, I love crazy bullshit.
This comes from Victoria Kennedy from Eurogamer. Following his appointment as co-chairman and co-CEO of DC Studios alongside Peter Safran, filmmaker James Gunn has confirmed that future DC video games will indeed be part of a larger connected universe for the Warner Brothers franchise. In a back and forth on Twitter, Gunn stated the DCU will be connected across film and TV and animation. When asked further if the statement also included games, Gunn replied with a simple and clear yes.
All right. Well, James Gunn's just coming here and just like, he's just head honcho now. He's just doing everything.
Yep. Also,
how quickly it just became like, oh, I am Mr. DC.
Yep. I don't know if you saw, but Guardians 3 trailer also dropped today.
Cool.
Crazy shit's gonna happen.
Nice. Is that next year?
Yeah, I think it's like May.
Ooh.
But I don't know how to exactly feel about this because it feels like this could get very messy.
It could.
Especially with the way game development works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It could be cool.
Yeah.
You never know. But yeah, no, it is a lot harder to tie them because they're a lot more unpredictable in like how you made it. And like, I just don't want the game developers to feel like they are limited by this, where it feels like you have to make like a supremely evergreen concept or whatever just because like, I don't know if it's going to come out, you know, if it's like, if it's story wise is supposed to set up in between two movies, but then it doesn't come out in between those two, you know, it's like, I don't know.
I wonder if I can see for a lot of it, I know the response will be that's lame, but realistically, I see this where it is kind of, it's technically part of the DCU, but multiverse.
Yeah.
It's a different version of Batman.
Could be.
But there's somehow
or they could just flashpoint them together at some point or something. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, it's weird because it is the opposite of what, like, obviously Marvel has been very good at building the cinematic universe in the movies and stuff, but in the games they have taken the complete opposite route of like we're giving it to a bunch of different studios and they're all separate. Mm-hmm. And basically do what you want.
I do think a potential good way to do this, but unfortunately this is not how DC or even Marvel really has operated, where, you know, you have the movies and stuff with the big heroes and maybe games can focus on kind of some of the smaller, maybe more B tier heroes, you know, like, I don't know, Green Arrow or some shit.
Yeah.
If it didn't like it in and it's in the world and it references shit or whatever.
I think that will happen, but there's no way the games are only going to be these like BT heroes. So they're gonna, you know, there's no way they're gonna resist having a Batman game or a Superman game or something like that, you know. It's like I doubt the Warner Brothers like game side or whatever, or whoever's doing the game things here is gonna be like, yeah, we'll take the scraps, you know, we'll take the unpopular characters and only the unpopular characters. You know?
It's such a weird thing because I can't imagine this, especially with the way Warner Brothers stuff is operated. So I guess this is something that was planned ahead. So this is not something that will really matter for another like realistically 5 years. Yeah.
I mean, everything in DC just feels like it's so much in flux. Like everything's being scrapped and started anew and everything. And yeah, with the games, that means that like, okay, yeah, cool, we'll see this and have
like the Wonder Woman game that got announced at Game Awards last year. That's not going to be involved in this.
I would be.
That's way too far along.
Very surprised. Yeah.
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 So we will see. Could be a fun idea. James Gunn's a madman.
I hope they're not married to like everything has to be connected. Like if someone has a dope idea for Batman or, you know, a dope idea for any DC game that doesn't fit in with the movies, I hope they aren't like, no, you know, it's like,
I'm going to go ahead and say that's not going to be the case because they're going to have their DC universe, whatever, but there's no way they're going to destroy the Batman, the movie The Batman and its sequels, because that is not connected to anything. I don't think they're going to change that. And even same with like Joker and it's getting a sequel. I think that will still happen. Just kind of be kind of like we do now, but they'll try harder for like doing more like Peacemaker stuff.
Yeah, there is something to be said about both of those movies happened before the current DC, like, you know, kind of tearing everything down. But I do think you're right. You know, it's like
we're still getting sequels for this, but yeah, I think those movies did well enough to where they probably won't mess with those.
Yeah, I just hope new DC projects are also allowed to be on its own if they want it to be. You know?
Barry, want to talk about some football?
Let's talk about some football. How about them Gamecocks, boy?
How about them Gamecocks?
Let's go.
This comes from Ryan Dinsdale from IGN. EA has announced that its highly anticipated EA Sports College Football won't be released until summer 2024. Speaking to ESPN, EA Vice President and General Manager Daryl Holt said the long wait from college football's announcement in early 2021 is due to them building the game from scratch. Quote, that's the best day for us to bring the game that we think is going to meet or exceed our player expectations and cover the breadth and scale of we want in the game, Holt said. We're trying to build a very immersive college football experience, end quote. He also assured to ESPN that college football won't be just a reskin version of EA's Madden NFL series. We want to make sure that it's distinctively, uniquely college football. If someone's worried about it being a clone of Madden or something else, that's not our intent and not the way we're approaching this. Which is good.
Yes.
I think inherently, regardless of whether you generally prefer college football or NFL, whatever better, I think the fact that it's finally going to be a football game that is built from the ground up not just an iterative version from year to year with some minor things is exciting in itself.
Hopefully it stays that way with the future sequels. But yeah, at least for the I think it sucks to have to wait another year. I think that's the best news you could get is that they're actually taking the time to actually make something like that. Yeah. I mean, I think it has a chance to come out and everyone's like, what the fuck are we playing this Madden for? It's like this, holy shit. I hope that I hope this pushes Madden to be better, if they're like, okay, well, maybe we should do
it's from the same company, which is kind of...
Yes, but obviously Madden is like a Pokemon at this point where it's like, they don't change because they don't have to change.
Yeah, and even what you're saying is correct, though, if it's like this... it's just a weird thing because it is from the same company. It's like even if it does eat into,
but even if the public, if there's just enough goodwill on this, it might make some suits be like, oh, well, this reviewed so much better. This is being taught so much more about or whatever. It's like everyone's pointing out how shitty Madden is compared to if there's the TikToks of the Madden catch, or something
even though that would be perfect, but it could be a best case scenario. I know it's not going to happen. What if they pull a Call of Duty and they just switch between them from back to back years? Like
that's not gonna happen. I know. It's not gonna happen.
I know. It could be cool as far as quality.
Yeah, because what if the Bengals win the Super Bowl in an off year, Jeff?
Right.
What if that happens?
You're going to get back-to-back Gamecock National Championship and Bengals in the off year?
Yeah, I was going to make a joke. Summer 2024 is fine because that'll be when the Gamecocks win the National Championship.
Yeah.
So it'll be fine.
Maybe your top team make the playoffs. Honestly, good timing for it. For that starting also. Because with the news that the playoffs are going to be expanded that year for that upcoming season.
True.
So there'll be kind of more hype for college football just because more teams have reason to get excited.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy it no matter what, unless you just hear it's absolute shit or whatever. Because I enjoyed those games back in the day. I enjoy Madden. I just do. There's no way I'm gonna spend $60 every single damn year for something that doesn't change and is really not that great of a game anyway. So I think I've bought 2 in the last 8 years or something like that.
And what's nice, I guess, now with the whole players being able to get paid thing or whatever, they might be able to actually put the characters.
I haven't heard about that. I don't know if they've said anything about that since they announced it, but that would be cool. No, no. I mean, I played those NCAA games back in the day. They were very fun.
Yeah, but like I said, how about some games?
It's just cool because obviously I care more about the NFL than college football, but there's something kind of cool about having 132 teams in this football game. It's like, wait, what? I love just going to some random New Mexico state and you see their stadium recreated, and it's like, oh, this is interesting. It's like that's pretty cool.
They better have a giant screen.
Oh yes. Oh, and the lights. Yeah, they better have the lights. Sandstorm playing. Let's go, baby.
That's why it's taking so long to recreate the perfect Williams Bryce experience.
Sir Big Spur.
Yeah.
In.
Yep.
Wait.
Couldn't you in old games play as the mascots?
Yes.
They got to keep that in, right?
Yeah, I hope so. God, I hope so.
Cocky going to be the best QB in the game.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's fun. Yeah. I do wish we could play it this year, but I do think for it being an actually good new game with new ideas, I think give it a year. I'm just happy it's happening.
Yes. Alrighty. Sony reveals Microsoft's true strategy. This comes from Andy Robinson
The most clickbait I've ever heard you say.
Yeah. Andy Robinson, Video Game Chronicles. Sony has claimed that Microsoft's true strategy behind the proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard is that PlayStation become like Nintendo and not compete in the 18-rated shooter space.
Jeff, give him a good reaction face for the thumbnail.
The comments were made in a newly published response to UK regulator and competition and markets authorities' decision to expand its investigation into the proposed acquisition. In its 22-page response, Sony Interactive Entertainment, which I will call SIE from here on out, alleges that if the deal were to go through, users would leave PlayStation's ecosystem, Microsoft could raise Xbox prices, and independent developers would be harmed in the fallout. As has been the trend with the regulatory back and forth, much of the document focused on Call of Duty and the perceived harm Sony claims the Activision Blizzard deal would cause, should the flagship franchise be made exclusive to Xbox. In one section of his statement, the platform holder singles out comments made by Microsoft that other platforms have prospered without Call of Duty, including Nintendo Switch. In its latest response, Sony says this ignores the facts. SIE argues that Nintendo's strategy is differentiated from PlayStation and Xbox because it doesn't rely on 18-rated shooter franchises, games which it argues Microsoft will have virtual exclusive ownership of should the Activision deal be approved by global regulators. In this sense, it alleges Microsoft's true strategy with the Activision Blizzard deal is to make PlayStation like Nintendo, and it does not compete in this space. And then it goes on the list like, Microsoft would have Call of Duty, Overwatch, Halo, Gear Wars, etc.
It's slightly surprising to me that like Sony is using the 18 rated shooter like terminology. I just thought like, I don't know, it just seems like a weirdly like casual like sounding phrase or something for like,
I think they're just doing anything they can to stop
but
this
no,
from
they are going hard in on just trying to get the monopoly busting.
Yeah, I'll just throw this out there to go along with this that Microsoft acquisition of Activision is likely to face an FTC lawsuit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of into, I mean, like, in a lot of ways, like, my actual opinion, my thoughts and opinion on it or whatever is that it's kind of bullshit or whatever. That I don't really think it is the like what they're trying to claim it is or whatever.
But they gotta claim it.
I was about to say, I get why they're doing it, because if they're able to actually pull this off and get them to break this up, it's going to save them oodles and oodles and oodles of money, and like make their future so much less of a headache and everything. Like, if they pulled this off, whoever was the lawyer or whoever's the one that has been making this whole campaign would be like the savior, the hero of all heroes for them. Like, I get why they're doing it. They got to make a play. They're making a play, and if this does, if they're able to make that happen, it would be huge.
Calling out, if this falls through, at the very least, Microsoft's gonna buy Square Enix, Capcom, and Bamco.
To spite you,
we're taking all your Japanese support.
Now, and we're closing them.
No more Final Fantasy because it doesn't exist.
Try having it exclusive now.
Yeah, they let the second Final Fantasy VII remake part come out, but they closed Square Enix for the third one. I think you would personally go down there and kill Phil Spencer.
Me and Phil Spencer would have some words. I just want to talk to him. I just want
to say a couple words to him, the guy, okay?
But I don't know. What do you think about this whole crusade?
Again, I get why Sony's doing it. Part of my reason bringing it up because just the words they've been using for this whole thing just sounds very funny.
It's very over the top.
Very over the top. But hey, it's working, and like you say, it's like the 18 rated shooter whatever space, like you said, casual terminology, but that is the kind of words you got to use for these government people who know nothing about video games.
At that point, I'm almost like, is it? I mean, I guess if they're trying to, I don't know, because like that, like I feel like you're talking to a lot of people who don't know anything about video games. It's like, should you be leaning into the like, yeah, this is adult shooter stuff? It's like, I don't know, but I mean, I guess because you're kind of weirdly arguing that it's like, we want this, we want this. I don't know. He's just making it sound. I see a congressman being like, a shooter. My God.
No, but then the military slips them a check for all the because they're in with Call of Duty and they're like,
Jeff, they can't make up their mind if they love guns or if our children seeing a gun in a video game is gonna ruin their life. Like we don't know which one.
see, Call of Duty's okay because it's army propaganda.
Okay, it's like what some of the most visceral video games there are out there,
Yes.
and most realistic as far as the murder.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still, in a lot of ways, wish that Microsoft wasn't doing this Activision Blizzard thing because I do think it is a lot of consolidation of things like that. But I also, in a lot of ways, it's kind of rich coming from Sony to be like, they're making things exclusive. And it's like, my good bitch, you've been doing this for so long. Final Fantasy was like released from your shackles for like a little bit, and then you like swoop it right back up, and there's the list goes on and on of those things. This is obviously way bigger as far as like popularity of franchises, but so I don't know. It's not like they don't have any case, but I don't fully know where I stand on it. But
No, I am very curious because I think the argument of this making Microsoft a monopoly is silly. Just because nowhere close to monopoly, even still. Yeah. But I'm very curious if for some reason the argument of monopoly on a particular genre is.
It's like, I don't think that's how Monopoly works, but
yeah,
it's like because there's nothing stopping you from going and
making
another one. I don't think that's really how that works exactly.
Yeah.
Which you're right. You bring up a good point. It almost does seem like they are like saying that's what they're like kind of pointing at.
Because the vast majority of the arguments I've seen from Sony as far as trying to fight this revolves around Call of Duty and by extension, the shooter genre. Because because it brings up it brought later, like I said, mentioning Overwatch as well. Microsoft for getting this transaction, as well as them already having Halo and Gears of War and the like. So yeah, they have a lot of the biggest shooters that are out there, but yeah. So yes, they would be the ones you go to to get that, but we'll have to see if they are going to be exclusive.
I don't know enough about the laws and stuff, but usually a monopoly is on internet.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you can't go out and just make new internet company, new internet infrastructure because there's all the spaces are taken up from other companies that have their hardware. They can't just do that. When you're talking about a genre of a video game, is that something you can really actually legally claim a monopoly? And maybe it is. I don't know. They're doing this, so I guess there's something there. But it's like, that feels weird because you technically can go make one.
Nintendo's had the monopoly on platformers for far too long.
Not wrong. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Again, get why they're doing it, but a lot of PlayStation arguments are silly and petty.
Yeah, I almost feel like you just have more of a just leave the genre out of it and just say they have X amount of just total video game sales and just be from a video game sales standpoint, they're gonna run everyone outside of the market, which there is probably an argument there. I don't think it's quite as drastic as they make it sound, but it could get there. I mean, this was just one move. They're gaining and they're obviously.
Yeah, I think we talked about it when the acquisition was first announced, where it's like, okay, this doesn't get them there just solely alone. It's what they do after the fact. Where
you were at least in you can see the line. You're in distance where the line is at least worth talking about. It's close enough to be worth talking.
If they immediately go after EA afterwards, we're going to be like,
I'm getting pretty close.
Might need to chill there.
Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of the monopoliers themselves, Nintendo, they also have the monopoly on kart racers people care about. By that I mean they have the one. Nah, crashing racing and the other ones are fun.
I would like to see the sales comparison.
Yeah. We don't talk about those. But Darby, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC. We get them some more of them packs. December 7th.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And they show a trailer where it announced the rest of the tracks. So let's talk about this real quick. Shall we? And there is Merry Mountain from Mario Kart Tour and Peach Gardens from Mario Kart DS, which we knew about already. They tickled the balls with those.
I missed it, but
It was during the last Direct.
nah. Okay. And I did not miss it, but I forgot.
Maple Tree Way from Mario Kart Wii. Going some giant trees and all that shit. Fun. Rainbow Road from Mario Kart 7.
How many of these are we gonna put in one game or that?
All of them.
What is that number up to?
I don't know, a lot.
It's like 5 or 6 or something. I don't know. It's a lot.
We have well over half of them. For sure.
I would hope. For this
Yeah.
point.
Rock Mountain, also from 7. Boulette from Super Circuit. It is always fun. Those exciting ones for me are ones like Super Circuit, which is like it's a GBA game. Like in how those they translate those to all this stuff.
It's probably like the most drastic difference.
I know, and that's fun.
Anytime we get to see my main man.
Yeah. And then we got Berlin Byways from Tour and London Loop from Tour, which kind of similar to the circuit ones, which are exciting, is the Tour ones, because they're just literally brand new tracks to us, and I think overall they've been very good.
I mean, yeah, they're different than the rest of them. They're not as wacky and zany like looking as the rest of them, but it's kind of cool to be like, we're in Sydney, we're in London,
Yeah.
New York.
And I like how, in comparison to a lot of other tracks with these, the Tour ones, they've kind of messed around with the actual track layout and how things work, because on some of them, like the laps are just vastly different from each other.
Yeah, which I think is cool. Yeah, the just general design of these DLC tracks have been satisfying.
Yes. Just getting more and more. Like, even with this to be halfway through the DLC.
It's been pretty fun. This rollout's been pretty fun because right when I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I feel like we should be getting some new tracks. Oh, there they are. Like, oh,
yeah.
So it goes by. Like, my internal clock has gotten on the rhythm where I'm like, it feels like it's. Has it been like every 2 or 3 months? Has it been on a consistent schedule?
I think it's been about every 3 or 4 months. There's an out pretty early in the year, so yeah.
So many damn tracks.
So I think it's safe to say the way it's going to roll out is it may not come out immediately, but we'll probably get at least a tease/trailer for each for the rest of the ones, like the Nintendo's normalish early year where they have a direct around like late February, early March or something. Then they're roughly equally time direct, assuming they do it, because they didn't do one this year, so and then their September-ish direct. I imagine just around those time frames is when we can expect the trailers for the last three.
Hell yeah! When is it supposed to be out by?
They just said the end of 2023. But I think I think they've done this with a couple other DLC things where they say that, where it's pretty much they plan to do it earlier, but just give them a little leeway if things have to be
coming out earlier than the thing.
Yeah. Just in case things have to get delayed a little bit.
Dope.
Yeah.
Well, when was December? What?
7th. Okay. So next Wednesday.
So by next weekend, maybe we can play it next weekend.
Yep. You go. Yeah, I think I'm off next Friday, so maybe we can get with the peeps and maybe play a little bit.
That's spitting facts.
Darby, it's sales time.
Everyone, wrap in. You're not ready.
You're not ready for these numbers.
So many numbers. Get your calculators out, you nerds.
God of War Ragnarok.
Never heard of it.
Is the fastest selling first party game in PlayStation history with 5.1 million sold in its first week. So more than the Spider-Man's.
Wow. Spider-Man's dead.
True.
Kratos is the new Spider-Man.
Kratos showed that axe and put it into Peter's head.
Oh, shit. That's brutal.
Yep.
Miles was watching.
Yep.
You're next, buddy. No, I mean, that's good. I'm not super surprised by that. And if you want to know why they didn't make this a PS5 exclusive, right, that right there is why.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm very curious, like, when's the next time we get, like, this record broken, just because you are getting closer to the point where it's, things are going to be just PS5 exclusive.
We think.
Yeah. We know next. I think. Well, they announced it and changed their mind later, so I guess who knows? As far as I know, right now, Spider-Man 2, which you would think would be the next chance this record has to be broken. It's PS5 exclusive.
At least Sony first parties might finally start becoming.
Yeah.
I still think big third parties are going to take.
Oh yeah.
Because of supply problems, but no, I mean that's good. Wasn't super. I mentioned. I think this game's going to continue to sell a lot because this is. I mean, we kind of talked about it. The PS5 is missing a lot of marquee big games from what you think we'd be at, so I think this is kind of a must buy.
Indeed. Yeah. We could definitely have a topic on, looking at it's like, not getting a lot of exclusives for that box.
No. Hey, what?
Hey, yo. All right. Man, that sounded really well. Sorry, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
800 billion copies.
Oh, shit. Not quite that much, but decently close. So over 10 million in its first 3 days. Darby?
Damn.
This number, it doesn't just make it the fastest selling Pokemon or the fastest selling Nintendo game. It makes it the fastest selling platform exclusive on any of these platforms ever.
Yeah, I mean, put that in perspective. We were just like, God of War, yeah, good job doing in 1 week. In 1 week, he scored 5.1 million. Okay, cool. In 3 days.
Double that in 3 days.
Jesus.
Yeah. So all these technical things, not deterring
And
people.
we all know,
I know,
Pokemon's proven over and over again. It doesn't really matter, but it's like...
And we're like, oh, this was expected. It's Pokemon's like, this broke records. I think that means... take the technical stuff out of it. It's the direction they're going on is making people excited.
Yes. No. I mean, yeah, the fact that it sold that much more, at least seeming like it's going to sell that much more and did that much more out of the gate than even like Sword and Shield and stuff is telling. That's.
I'm going to be very curious. I guess the legs to see if, going on for the next couple months, will the technical issues kill its legs, or will that just be like completely irrelevant? Like, how much is the drop off?
I feel like there probably won't be a lot just because
I feel like it will be offset by everyone being like, but it's so damn fun.
I was about to say it's obvious the fun is winning out, and I do think there's a good number of casual people. There's a friend of mine that we were talking about. I was like, yeah, but the frame rate and the bug and stuff. And he's like, what? The frame rate's fine. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, like, I love the game. I mean, I will say I love the game. Like, I really is like I've not been this hooked on the game in a long time. It runs like ass. It's like I don't care if you're not a frame rate person or whatever. Like, this is not the 30 versus 60 debate. That's a picture flipping back and forth in front of me. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But there are people who like will play this and be like, no, it was great. I don't know, it looked wonderful. I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, okay, all right, we're just big nerds, I guess. We're close.
Yep.
Like, yeah, you forget just how mass appeal Pokemon is. Like, it's a different level than any other video game we talk about. Just period.
Yeah.
Like any other video game. We talk about Mario, it's like Pokemon's on a different level of just like tiny little kid, never played game, old person. It's just like everyone can play. It's ridiculous.
Everyone loves Pikachu.
And why wouldn't you?
Yep. Oh wait, you watched Delayed Input, the most recent one where you talk about the sales for this?
No, I do not think so.
Well, spoilers. He said the true reason why. This God of War and Sonic sold so well.
And they all have one reason.
Well, they all have iconic characters. God of War has Kratos, Sonic has Sonic, Pokemon has Flappy.
Of course.
I love that he used Flappy.
Iconic to me and you.
Oh wait, speaking of,
I didn't know you had though.
Yeah,
cute. Look at
little
it.
shape.
Look at that. Would you just look at it?
Yep. All right. Finally, the Persona 5 Royal re-release that just came out like a month ago has already sold over 1 million copies just on these new platforms. I have to imagine a big percentages on the Switch.
Yes. It's almost like people wanted this.
Yeah, making the total Persona 5 sales 8.3 million. So yeah, immediately we were like, huh, 1 million just like that. Who could have guessed it, Atlas?
It's the same thing as when P4 just came out on Steam. It was just that alone, and it exploded. And then Alice was like, "Oh, we are surprised by this." It's like, all right, screw you. What the hell? Come on.
I am hoping that Atlas is not being a dumbass and did not already sign a contract with Sony that made Persona 6 exclusive.
6 needs to be multi-platform at launch.
I don't even know if there's a contract signed for. I say that. I don't even know if there's a contract signed for Persona 5 because the way they rolled out stuff made no fucking sense.
I have a sneaking worry that there is no contract. The contract would make more sense, but I'm worried that that was just they just somehow do absolutely zero market research. Literally none.
I mean, there's a good chance I get Persona 6 on a PlayStation anyway. There's a chance I do that.
If that's the only place it's gonna be for 3 fucking years, then yeah, I'm gonna get it.
Well, even if it's multi-platform, but still, it should just be on everything that can run it. Sorry, Switch, maybe, hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah, if it looks similar to the other Personas or whatever, I'll be like, sure, I'll get it on the Switch. If it looks markedly better, I'll probably get it somewhere else.
My hope is that it will be a bump up, considering how long it's taking. But we will see.
But isn't that just how long Personas take all the time? Didn't P5 also take a long time?
Yes, I think already 5 has already surpassed the time in between, and from the release of 4 to 5, and we haven't even gotten the announcement of it.
Fair.
So it is taking longer.
Fair.
Game Awards.
Whoa! Right around the corner.
That is happening a week from tonight of this recording on my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. We're gonna live react to it. That's the plan. We're gonna watch some stuff. We got some updates as far as what might be happening at the Game Awards.
No.
I don't know if it's good or bad or whatever. But Jeff has been. I guess we're still a week away, but I feel like more silent on stuff because normally I feel like we get a bombardment of stuff that's supposed to be there. But again, we're a week away, so that's probably actually coming.
Probably is this coming week. Is probably going to be them.
But I think we've got some pretty big things already kind of confirmed. Let's talk about that. First one I'm going to say that's not as big necessarily to us or anything, but I just remembered it was said right before we started recording. So before I forget, Among Us is having an announcement during the pre-show. Fun. But there goes one of my bets that I was going to make for the betting special. It's always that Fortnite and Fall Guys.
We're gonna surgically make you into an Among Us guy.
All right. So, Tekken 8 announcement. Apparently, Tekken sent out some little goodies to people, pretty much saying to watch the Game Awards. So I said to say we're gonna get something there. Is it me now? Oh, it's me. Oh, now. So yeah, probably gonna get Tekken 8. In the same vein, Jeff Keighley might have kind of teased Street Fighter 6, and the thing with that is people, posting a bunch of shit, and Jeff liked to tweet saying someone guessing is Street Fighter 6 gonna be there. Could mean nothing, but Street Fighter 6 was at his last thing.
It could mean something.
It's been since TGS since we got an announcement. I think it makes sense.
Hell yeah.
Does he go for the trifecta and get NetherRealm's announcement?
That would be amazing. Damn.
I think there's reason to always believe a NetherRealm announcement is happening, technically.
I want to see Max lose his mind. I want to see the 3 levels of just...
it's real. I think it's actually realistic. This is a fighting game like wet dream where, we get see more Tekken, get Street Fighter 6, we get NetherRealm, and we also get Project L. I think that is on the table.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, NetherRealm, it's almost like I shouldn't say this. It's reckless for me to say this.
It is.
But it feels like it feels like it has to be there, right? I mean, you have to announce this game at some point. There are obviously I'm just expecting it's going to be an announcement that's coming out in 5 months type of thing at this point.
Yeah,
but
And
this is like one of the last big places. Is it gonna wait until all the way to E3 next year? Like that feels like I don't know.
Yeah,
and they usually do the big event shows announcements, don't they? They don't.
But 11 was announced at the Game Awards.
Yeah, that's
that's another reason to believe it can be here.
Yeah.
Like if they feel it's ready to announce.
Yeah, no, I have no doubt that it wouldn't. They have a relationship with Jeff. I'm just saying, like NetherRealm doesn't typically just announce things on a random Tuesday on Twitter. It's usually at like an E3 or a Game Awards type thing. Right?
Maybe like teasing leading up to E3. I think they may have done that with Justice 2 or some shit. But also something related to that, just real quick. And what I'm about to say, not a surprise to literally anyone, but Ed Boon did confirm on Twitter that the next game is either MK12 or Injustice 3.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. And based on other stuff, I'm feeling like it is definitely MK12. I think there was something else that was said at some point that made it look like it was probably not Injustice 3 or something. I might be wrong on that.
I don't want it to be either. I want it to be something new.
I want Injustice.
I want something new.
The DC.
I want DC versus Marvel.
I mean, that's the dream. Of course, I want that more than anything. But if I had to choose between the two,
but I'll settle for DC versus Land Before Time.
I mean, sure. Littlefoot. I'm gonna be a Littlefoot man.
You better watch out.
Yeah, so could be a good fighting game night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's crazy. That's wild.
505 Games has an announcement they said they're going to have there. They have like a teaser site thing where it's like, I don't know, some city skylines. It's looking like it's probably a new IP, which that's fun.
But that can be literally anything. They publish all kinds of
everything.
Right? So it's like, but cool. Yeah, sure. So.
Jeff Grubb apparently has teased, and I don't think this is a surprise either, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Because that's supposed to come out early next year. Probably going to get a date for that.
Yeah, that's probably a lock. Yeah.
I'll skip over to do the more exciting one last. Hosier is performing it. I guess he has a song in God of War Ragnarok. I guess we haven't gotten there. He's apparently performing it live for the first time there.
Okay.
Sure. Go off. Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
But finally, Jeff has announced that Yoshi P is doing a special Final Fantasy 16 presentation at the Game Awards. And it's looking like there's a pretty good chance it's the date.
Like, oh, yeah, is this still just summer?
Yes.
That's all they said. Nice.
I think the Snitch, we haven't talked about him a little bit. Apparently can just look at YouTube videos that have been posted but not like officially out yet. Might have hinted at June 22nd as the date. I don't know, is that Friday? What day is that? It's a Thursday. Yeah, that could work. Might have been 27, I don't remember. Whatever. So it looks like we're getting a big thing for a 16, potentially the dates. I'm all for that.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, apparently Yoshi's going to be doing that. It's a like special presentation or whatever.
They're gonna have an actual icon. Like one of their summons is gonna kill Yoshi P on stage.
So this is a short list, but it's all stuff like, hey, I'm intrigued by it. Yeah.
Hype stuff. Yeah.
Hopefully this isn't the only hype stuff. But
but if that's there, I mean, you'll at least have some good stuff.
And we know Crash is going to be there.
Oh, new Crash. Weren't they teasing things?
Yeah, they literally when the PC version of Crash Forward, they're like, oh, look for a new menu item on December 8th. It doesn't say specifically Game Awards, but it's probably the Game Awards. I mean, if I'm getting Crash announcement either way, Game Awards or not, I'm going to take it. But it's going to be at the Game Awards.
That would be very weird if you decided to go right beside the Game Awards.
Yep.
Well, cool. All right. Well, thank you. That's got a little bit of Game Awards type. It was good. Yeah. Healthy.
I'm excited.
Healthy Game Awards type.
Now time for other news.
Other news.
One of those times where there are a couple things that could have been news items based on what the other sides of them, but I just go on gut feeling when I'm making this. Golf is now a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, it is? Okay, shit. I'm gonna do that then. I was kind of waiting for that. That does sound jolly.
Yeah.
Fun. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to do that. No. Monster Hunter Rise is coming to everything, including Game Pass. So
your toaster,
Xbox, PlayStation, Windows. On January 20th.
What else was it not on? Wasn't it? It was on.
No, it's literally just on. It's Switch. This is Rise. The Switch one.
Yeah,
it just got a PC port.
I thought it already had the PC port.
It did have the PC port, but it's like Steam now. It's on Windows, so it could be on Game Pass.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, sorry, I got
you. Yeah, and now on consoles as well.
Cool.
Which
So it's
Yes.
yep.
Sunbreak for those platforms are coming in spring. So yeah, exciting.
It's good. It's good.
Dead Island 2 has been delayed until April 28th. It's about 2 months.
Didn't even know it was supposed to come out.
Yeah, when it was announced at Jeff's show, it was announced for February. It's like, okay, take your time. It looked good when they showed it.
Yeah, no, it didn't. It did.
The Witcher remake has been confirmed open world. And I know what some of you might be thinking. Well, duh. The original Witcher was not open world.
Oh wait, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So they changing things. Quite
They're gonna change things, which is exciting.
Yeah. So you could probably you could think of this probably as a new game. It's like probably a new game, but it's telling the same story.
Like we have levels of remake that sound like it's going to be a remake.
Yeah, like actual real remake.
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna their ideas that you can walk into this and it just feels like the Witcher 3 level type of shit or whatever. It's like, Explorer World.
Probably,
which is what I
probably
want.
new storylines and shit as well. I'm
I would think, yeah. Probably not quite as big as Witcher 3.
Oh, no.
But still, I'm excited. No, I think
that's
good news to me. And make it more modern, make it more,
Now, even if it's like, okay, open world, so that means it might be longer and more, depending, you look at more tedious stuff. Like, but they're at least going in and changing shit. Yeah. So it's like, it's going to put more effort in because, like I just said, there are varying degrees of levels of remakes.
So just hearing the word does not mean much anything.
This is closer to like the RE2 style remake. Get more excited.
I expect fully new, obviously new voice acting. There was going to be that anyway, but I expect new quests, new world design, new everything. It'll just be, it's probably just going to tell the story, but it's going to do it in their own modern way. So,
Fire Emblem Engage has got multiple new trailers recently, Darby.
How do you feel about these new trailers?
Looks like up. And like, it's Fire Emblem, so I have some minimum level of excitement, but none of the stuff that we announced has really raised it at all. And then I see the reviews for Midnight Suns that have just come out. I think it's like at 84, 85 on Open Critic and stuff. I'm like, and I can't help but think, when I'm playing on One Piece Odyssey for my January game, but once I would get to Fire Emblem, I can't help but think, I probably might just grab Midnight Suns for my strategy kick.
I would imagine, at least from the strategy gameplay level, it's going to be the more engaging one. Now, obviously, I know you have Fire Emblem nostalgia and everything like I do, so I would understand if that won out, but yeah, it probably is.
Well, something that got me hyped from the now I'm just going to talk about Midnight Suns for a bit, just reading the reviews, is them talking about, and people seem to be not like all 100% in agreement with the social aspects of it, but I've saw a lot of people compare it to, Family Houses, as far as that going around, like, I guess the manor thing, talking to people, and like Persona with social stuff, and going out and like apparently go like some kind of club with Blade or whatever, and Captain America wants to join in and stuff.
So I didn't even know this type of stuff was fully in the game. I thought it was just a story that you were doing story. So you can do like individual little things with different characters, I guess, like individual storylines. So that's cool.
Yeah, hang on the beach with Tony.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's
that kind of stuff I'm in for, and I've seen nothing but praise for the actual combat as well. I know me and you weren't as down on the card mechanics as a lot of people were, but everyone's like, no, this is excellent. And that's also had me side. It's like, I know what the Fire Emblem thing's going to be, and I know it's going to not be crazy and probably very easy.
It's gonna be very safe, very safe.
Yeah,
I think.
This like the combat interested me from the get-go, and this sounds like it will be very exciting and fun. So
the arc of this game has been very up and down. I feel like with like some of the previews were like it's a little rough, and then some of the backlash to the trailers and everything, but I think a lot of it was noise because people had not really played the game, but now that people are playing the game, I'm glad to see.
And also, it sounds like it's very long, which I expected. What kind of?
I wonder how this would run on the Switch, since it's just a strategy game.
It is coming on the Switch later, so it's also getting a bunch of DLC. So I'm also with like Deadpool and Storm and stuff being playable characters. So I'm all okay with also waiting to make some of that stuff's at least out, so I can play the game with those characters.
Gotcha.
With my go through.
I would just think like strategy game feels nice on the Switch, but like it would have to run well though.
So I'm playing. This is. As far as games that are, going to be old games, I think this is going to be pretty high up on my list. Kind of like maybe based on what people were saying of it. Like I'd always talk about near leading up to me getting it. It's like this is going to be a game I want to play, one that I actually get and play.
Yeah.
It just be kind of down the line a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure where I'm at, but I'm definitely interested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It comes out tomorrow as well as Callisto Protocol.
Oh, it does? I thought it was next year.
No.
What the hell?
I just said reviews were out.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm definitely not getting it. Yeah, wait, yeah. Duh.
Callisto Protocol
It just got delayed so many times. I just thought it was
No, I think we had this conversation before.
Yeah, I think we have.
And Callisto Protocol also comes out tomorrow, and no reviews are out yet.
When a game gets delayed enough times, it just gets into the, whenever it comes.
Well, and it's also...
I'm that way with Forspoken now. I don't know when that game's coming out. I'm
next month.
Just at some point. Okay. I thought it was next year, too.
It's next year. It's just the first month.
Whatever. I just shoveled
Fire Emblem is next month. Yes. One Piece is next month. A lot of games. Yeah, Callisto Protocol is also out tomorrow, but no reviews yet, which is coming out the day of, which...
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's one of those things. Does not always mean bad things.
No.
But I understand people being like, It might be a little hesitant.
It could mean bad things.
Yeah. Exciting times. Speaking of great games, Sonic Frontier. No. Maybe.
You are going to love that game, Jeff.
Yeah. I think my mommy's getting me for Christmas. It announced a roadmap with free updates, which are kind of exciting, and some simple stuff like photo mode, new challenges, Sonic's birthday, whatever the fuck that means. But the most exciting thing, which is the third update that's going to be sometime probably later next year, is new playable characters, and has a screenshot of Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, and saying new story, which that's fun, and it's free. I respect doing that.
Light free? Light free? Yeah.
So, yeah. You can expect Sonic Frontiers and Precious for me at some point.
At some point. Stay tuned.
Yep.
It coming.
Monster Hero Sakura might have teased Kid Icarus Uprising for Switch.
Whoa.
You know, he has that YouTube channel, and one of the most recent things involved like Kid Icarus, and it's like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if it was on like a home console? That'd be neat.
That would be very neat, wouldn't it?
And we've got a couple of those things where I'm like, is that happening? I want it. Or a sequel. I'll take that too. I just want it to live.
We just want life.
True.
But, without destroying my wrist.
True. You got to be built different like me. I don't know if you knew this, but the Grammys now have a category for like game soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
And we had the nominees for the first time, and here they are.
Are they going to disappoint me, Jeff?
Maybe. You haven't looked at the list?
I have not.
Oh, all right. Aliens Fireteam Elite, Assassin's Creed Valhalla Dawn of Ragnarok DLC,
Okay.
Call of Duty Vanguard,
Okay.
Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and Old World. Very Western.
Very Western.
No fucking Xenoblade.
We shouldn't.
I know.
We shouldn't.
It's such a boring list.
It is very boring.
I'm not even saying the soundtrack for this stuff was
It just kind of looked like you Googled popular games.
Yeah.
It's like, it didn't. Aliens, Fireteam Elite. I mean, it's a popular franchise. I don't know.
Yeah.
They recognize, Aliens. We know that one.
Yeah. There's one of the things that scream that big companies putting their stuff up for it.
Well, it's like, who is the voting base for this, and like, how much do they really know?
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, for Guardians, it's easy. Like you just see the soundtrack of songs, and it's like, oh, that looks.
I know that song.
Never gonna give them up.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's boring.
Yep,
it is what it is.
Sin Kiski is in Guilty Gear Strive. That's the newest
we
DLC
go commit
character.
some sin.
Yep, little 5-year-old boy. I don't know if he's actually 5. He's somewhere around there. But is in a grown man's body. I don't know the story behind that.
Because again, you must be physically hot to be in the game. So I know this 5-year-old kid, that ain't good enough. You got to put him in the 20-year-old hunk's body.
Yeah. I don't know the story behind that. Probably involving some gears.
It's Guilty Gear, man.
Yeah.
That's like the 15th weirdest thing in that game. No, that's way too high. It's like the 115th weirdest thing in that game. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's like, whatever. You're a little kid in a 20-year-old's body. Who cares?
I think the weirdest thing about it is it's Kai's son. That means he had sex. And my impression of him, he was a good old Christian virgin.
What would Jesus think about this?
I mean, he might be married. I don't know. Actually, I think him and Soul are like brothers-in-law. So I think that's one thing I know from the story. So that adds up.
Fun.
Yeah.
So he fucks, confirmed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Glad we can bring you guys the hard-hitting analysis.
And the final story. Sonic creator Yuji Naka has been arrested.
For what?
Insider trading.
Oh.
Involving Dragon Quest.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Spicy.
See, my joke answer was going to be Battle in Wonderworld.
Well, you know, justice comes for us all one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's whatever. No, that's more serious, but whatever. Who cares?
I mean, it's one of those things where you see like popular people get arrested or people like this. You just always go to your mind like crazy things like insider trading's boring. And part of me's glad it's just that.
Yeah,
compared to what we get for a lot of things.
It could be like it doesn't affect the broader public as much, whatever.
It's not like actually physically or mentally hurting someone in particular. So
it's just a man who wanted money.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it in the illegal way. It's like, sure, whatever you want. There's some,
Definitely not a thing where I'm like, I'm boycotting Sonic now. Fuck this shit.
No, it's just like, there was a greedy dude.
Yeah.
Sure. They're everywhere. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're not greedy because we do this podcast for probably in the ultimate grand scheme of things, negative money. I mean, I bought some of the stuff, so definitely negative money. So we ain't greedy at all. So, we
do this for the people.
For the people. Well, it's been fun. Very fun.
Indeed.
I'm excited do you want to go to Nuzlocke?
We can.
Well, we'll see. We'll probably have more Pokemon discussion for you next time.
Indeed.
Until then. Goodbye. Game Awards.
We'll be doing that.
Twitch.tv/Nuzlocke Gaming.
Gaming.
Yay!